Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all well. So in my previous video we created our ticketed snippet, so I thought we'd create the opposite page, and what I thought was, we did this in the previous video. We had this ticket and it seems a shame not to use it. It's a piece of scrap, but we have the colours on there and it seems a shame not to use that. So I thought we'd do exactly that. You can see the card's bent, so we'll just, but it's a piece of scrap card, but I thought we've got the ticket on there, so it seems a shame not to use that. So I'm going to place my ticket back over like we did before. Of course, I've put my brush back. So I'm going to take my blending brush and I'm going to add the selvage patina just to make the markings for my ticket. And you can see that I'm not holding that down with any low tack tape. It's much easier if you hold it down with some low tack tape. It's far easier. So let's just make this marking here, just so we've got the design all marked out for our ticket. So you can see that we've got that marked out there. Let's just move that out of the way. I'm going to add a little bit of water. And I'm going to take, let's just get that ball bearing going, the Villainous Potion spray, but this time I'm just going to add, do you like how when I add the splatters? So I'm just adding a few splatters just with our bottles, and again just spraying those, just shaking those from side to side. So just adding a few sort of splatters of those, and then I'm going to just add, can you see how much that comes to life when you add a little bit of water? So I've just pressed the water very lightly and you can see most of that colour is the purple. So we'll add some of the selvage patina in with the purple. And yes, you could just spray that quite easily, but I don't want to be quite so heavy-handed. That's why I'm using it and just flicking it with the bottle, because I don't want to be quite so heavy-handed with those colours. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the selvage patina. I love it when it starts to marble. I'm going to lift this up so you can see what I mean. Let me show you. You see when it starts to marble? I love it when it does that. But that's why I'm sort of going quite gentle, just so that it's a little bit of a different look than if I spray. And you can see, I want you there. Thank you. There we go. So it's a little bit more considered, I'd say the word is. It's a little bit more considered. Now, I don't want to go with my kitchen roll and go like that and just blot that up. There's no, that's just going to dilute the colour. Now, if you can let that dry naturally, then all the better. If you're not going to let it dry naturally, I've got my fan going because you can probably every now and then see my hair blowing in the camera. But if I just dry from a distance, I'm not going to move that colour too much. And because it's quite humid up here, it should dry quite quickly. So like how much the card is curling. So let's just dry that from underneath as well. So I can come in a bit closer now because it's not moving. I'm just going to give that a proper dry now. So I was a little bit more considered with that colour. And it doesn't matter how much that card curls because you're going to cut out the ticketed snippet. And you can see I'm not dabbing that so that the colour is not diluted. Now, if I use the kitchen towel on that, just that little bit there, it will take out that colour. And I don't want it to take out that colour. I want it to leave that intensity of colour. Okay, obviously did add a few layers there because that's taking a little bit longer to dry. There we go, I'm quite happy with that. We can mop up the rest. Now when you're heating as much as I've done, just remember that that card is really hot. Just remember that. There we go. So what I'm going to do, because you've got that rich colour on there, I'm just going to splatter a little bit more with the water. And then we'll dab. Can you see there's still colour in there, but it means that that colour's just not sitting on the top of the surface. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my wilted violet. So let's take the wilted violet and let's take our little ticket again. So I used Villainous Potion spray, but I'm using wilted violet distress oxide because I don't want it too dark. And again, you can see I'm not too worried if I go over the outside edge. That's not a worry at all, because again, you're cutting that out. I've now got that lovely outer edge. I've also got some nice ink on there, so I could create another print. I've also got some nice moisture on here. Not what I want. So you can see now, you can see the outline of the ticket quite easily. So we can then cut our ticket out. Again, you can use your cutters to make cutting the edge out really simple. And you can see I've got all those bits and pieces if I wanted to use them. That's it. It's got all these bits and pieces if I wanted to incorporate anything. That piece there is just lovely. And then we'll cut our little corners out. So you've got your little ticket, and now it looks a little bit different than our previous one in the background. Just looks lovely. And we can still add water to that if we wish, no problem at all. And you can see it doesn't matter that the card was quite curled. So I'm going to take, where is number 3? There we go. I'm going to take TE3, which is the fern stamp. I love this for adding bits of detail. Let's move that one up. This is a very well used stamp, and I've cut mine up so that all the ferns are separate. It's entirely up to you if you do that or not. You can keep them together. This one is separate, but these two are together, as you can see from the background. So I just split those. It just meant on an A7 stamp I can get more on, you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just test on a little piece of card. Let's use this little bit of card here. So I'm using Morning Mist, another of my favourite colours. I want to see what the first generation looks like, and then the second generation. Yes, it's quite nice, that is. So I'm going to take the ink again, ink the smaller fern up, and I'm just going to add this fern, first, second, third generation. Let's grab a little bit of a wipe, that mine are not very wet. So let's take the fern again, and we'll take the first, second, third generation. It's not too overpowering, that. It looks quite nice because it's not too overpowering. So first, second, third generation, lovely. Just nicely adds to that, and it's not too much. Let's just place that back. Mind you, I'll leave that out because I might want to add some more when I've done the design. I'm going to take the poppy stamp then, and I'm going to take these little poppies here. Let's take that poppy stamp. So you can see here, this little image here. And then I'm going to take the wilted violet, and I'm just going to stamp the flower head. So I'm just going to add the flower head or I'm obviously going to apply it to the acrylic block. There we go. Bits of card everywhere. So I'm just going to add the flower head with a H. And I know you can't see that too well at the moment, but obviously I'm going to add more colour. Don't know why I'm having this one. Honestly, it's so dry. Let's have one there. And I would like an odd number. Let's have one here. There we go. Always give that stamp a little bit of a wipe when you've used the oxides. There we go. I'm just going to give that a little bit of a dry, just so that that oxiding isn't wet. There we go. Can you see those on there? Quite nicely on there. Then I'm going to take my pencils that I used in my previous ticketed snippet, which is Black Cherry 1078. And we'll just bring the stems down. I'm just bringing my stems down and then adding the detail in to that poppy. So just bringing in the stems and then just bringing in a little bit of that darker colour, just so that you can see our beautiful poppies. So this is the Black Cherry, which is 1078. I'm then going to come to Parma Violet 1008. And just add the Parma Violet. What I'm going to do to make another colour is hopefully lift this up. Where's my smaller pencil? Where's my white one out? Let's use one of my new ones then, because I can't find the smaller one. I've then got the Prismacolor White 938, and I'm just going to come in and just add the white to the top, just blending out the other colours. There we go. Just so that you can see that. I'm then going to come in again, just with the darker colour once again. I'm going to add a little bit more depth and smooth that out a little bit as well. So then come with the Parma Violet. With the Parma Violet coming into your previous colour. Coming into the previous colour with your Parma Violet. And if you've lost a bit of the detail, bring that in, just so you can see that. Then use that white, which really, I should sharpen the pencil. Now, you've got that waxy layer on there. So don't forget, if you come with your Posca pen now straight away, you've got that waxy layer on there. It's going to pick up some of that waxy layer, which is understandable. I've obviously got things everywhere because I don't know where the other Posca pen is. Oh, it's here, isn't it? And we can come in and just add a little bit of white. Once your white stops, bring in a little bit of card and just remove that waxy layer from your Posca pen. And then we'll just add a little bit of the white just to the stem. And just come in and add a few layers of your white, just so that you can see that. Just beautiful. We can then, from the poppy stamp, we've also got the text here talking about the poppy, which is perfect. And I haven't got an arrow on there. Really should put an arrow on there so it makes it easier, so you know which way it is. It's up, which is the right way up, but I can see that. I'm then going to use that grey ink again. So let's use that grey. And let's add a little bit of text to our background. So we're just adding a little bit of that text. And if anybody reads any of the words, it'll all make sense because it talks about nodding flowers. So it's perfect for that poppy stamp. There we go. And I just cleaned that up off my non-stick craft sheet because it's an oily ink, so it does sort of stick on there, so we don't want that. So I'm going to take, am I going to take a few? No, actually, we'll just wait a moment. Then I'm going to take, where are you? My TE44, because it's got my little blackbirds in there. I think it's that one. Yeah, so take that little blackbird. You can use any bird that you wish, or you don't have to use a bird. That's entirely up to you. We've also then need my black ink. Take our black ink. And then I can add my little blackbird just down here. And I'm just giving that a little bit of time, even though it's a small stamp, just to make the impression. Just wonderful. I love having all these little bits and pieces. It makes me happy. So let's just ground our little bird. We'll grab our brush. I don't think that's the one I normally use. Oh, it is. So just grab a little bit of water, and as you can see, everything's coming in on me just as usual. Now the grey fern, that's not going to move because that's a permanent ink pad, which is wonderful. Now we can add a little bit of depth just underneath the poppies a little bit, so we can add a little bit more shading underneath those poppies. Plus, it's my favourite thing to do is just add a little bit of shading just around there. It's like our scrimp on water. Just add a little bit. And obviously where you touch that oxide, it'll still react. So you only need a little touch of the water. It just makes it pop a little bit more. Just makes them stand out a little bit more. And then what I like to do is I like to come back and I like to go over the white again. You can use that bleed proof as well if you wish. It's entirely up to you. Let's just bring, and you can see it's picked up some of that. That's better. I'm obsessed with adding touches of white. There we go. And then we'll add a few splatters. And what I will do with adding splatters is I will give that a little dry, just so that doesn't react too much with the oxide. Don't want that to react too much with that oxide ink. Just turning that over just so that that flattens out a little bit. Just makes the adhering a little bit easier, just so that you can see. Oh yes, I love that. So let's bring in our little book. So we bring in our little book. Obviously you can put a faux black edge if you wish, like we do with our beautiful Frenchies, but I want these to look a little bit different than our Frenchies, so it's great fun. So let's just add this to here, and obviously you can see I'm going to have to hold that down because it's curled a little bit, but that doesn't matter. We like a challenge. And I want to say a huge thank you to everybody that sent me a ticketed snippet for the lovely Mary. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to hold that down just so that that can grab hold. Now if you don't like holding onto your card, just use another piece of card just to hold on to that. You can see I've got a bit of black on my hand there. So just use another piece of card just to hold that down. There we go. And then I'm going to use my poppy stamp again, and it's got the poppy wording on there, so we'll use that poppy wording. Now just make sure that your stamp is going to stick on there and you're not going to, it's not going to fall off. Then I'm going to use my black ink . Can then add, I've done it wrong again, haven't I? Oh, do you know, you'd think I'd know by now. How many times have I done this? You have to just be a little bit more considered because of your book. Obviously, you could draw around your ticket first hand, mark it out and then stamp. But I'm going to add the poppy wording there. There we go. Let's just put that back. So just clean the end because we don't need to stick anything else down. And then I'm going to take my little pencil, my Inktense pencil, as we've done in the previous ones. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading around there. Just there we go, just to add a little bit of shading. And it's up to you how much you drag that out. I'm just sort of softening the edge. There we go. Leave that out. And then I want to add a little poppy here. So let's take the poppy, and then I'll just ink the flower head exactly like we've done before. We'll give that a clean just while I remember, because I know that if I don't do it straight away, I won't remember. You can give that a little bit of a dry, just with going on with the pencil. So we'll then come in with our black cherry, just to outline that. Then come in with our Parma violet. And I can't say Parma violet without thinking about Parma violets when I was younger. Oh, they were like perfumed, weren't they? So coming in with that white, then we'll just come in with a little bit more darkness. See a little bit of bloom there, waxy bloom. Then come in with the white again. And what I'm going to do there, just give that a little bit of time to rest. Let's just add a little bit of grounding. Bring in our brush again. Just ground our poppy. There we go. And I'm going to add a little bit of text from the poppy stamp again, just in that morning mist. Actually, let's take it off the acrylic block so we're not quite so regimented. Lovely. And then I'm going to take, I said I'd end up using the fern again if I put it away, didn't I? Just take the fern, just take that morning mist again. I'll just add, which way do I want it to go? First generation, second, third. There we go, a little bit of the fern. And that's then had a little bit of time to rest. So I can come in with my Posca pen. I can just add a little bit. There we go. Add a few splatters just because I can't help myself. There we go. Let's move this out of the way. And then I've now got a page that coordinates with my previous page. Just lovely. So I hope you've enjoyed that one and you'll give that a go. Again, that could be a Thrinchy, no problem at all. It could be a snippet or it could be a card. So I hope you've enjoyed that and you'll give that a go. Love to all, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.